Okay, so the first question is, what is your take now on biobanking based on the Henrietta Lacks case? Do you feel like it's ethical, something that we should still have in society?
Yes. So I worked a lot in biobanking before I read the Henrietta Lacks case, and had thought a lot about the ethics prior to reading the Henrietta Lacks book. So I can't say that my thinking has changed a lot because I read the book. I thought the book was extremely interesting, and I thought it was really nice to have like a personal story to go along with a lot of the work that I've done. But to me, the biggest effect of the book is not on necessarily my personal feelings, but on sort of the public acknowledgement of the issue, which I don't think existed before the book came out. And I actually think that a lot of the current political climate in DC surrounding human subjects research currently is as a result of the book and the public reaction to the book. So I do think it has had a large effect on us as a society generally.
Okay.
My recommendation for a compromise.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, so we kind of touched on this, but if there were no laws preventing you from taking cells from a person today in terms of consent and all that stuff, would you do the same thing that was done to Henrietta Lacks to further research if there were no laws saying that this was not moral, not ethical? And I guess it's also a personal question.
So I would say that personally, I am comfortable with proposals for blanket consent when somebody comes into the clinic for further research. I do think that people should be made aware that the biospecimens that are being derived could be used in research. I would also support an opt-out consent, meaning that unless somebody specifically objects to having their biospecimens involved in that research, the default is that the biospecimens are used for research. Because many more people will be liable to be part of that research if that's the default, as opposed to an opt-in saying, like, for example, our current organ donation system is an opt-in system. And countries that have an opt-out system have much, much higher rates of organ donation. Yeah. So I do think that people should be aware that it's happening. But I think that we should incentivize people heartily to engage in research. Yeah. Because I think it's very important. And will benefit us all, hopefully, at some point.
So this last question kind of ties into that. So a main theme of the book was suffering. So that's kind of what our group pulled out. So do you think it's right to use Henrietta Lacks' cancer suffering to help other people's cancer suffering and basically maybe alleviate that pain if something comes out of it? Because it was used for a lot of cervical cancer research. So it's kind of the idea of suffering. Is it okay to use one person's suffering to basically alleviate many people's suffering down the line?
Yes. Okay. And in fact, I think it's very important that if people are suffering, not only do we help that individual in the clinic, but we try to learn from it as part of a research system to help other people in the future. Because often we can't help the person in front of us.
Yeah, and I think that's...
But maybe what we can do is help others in their situation. I think when people start to get uncomfortable is when they feel like that individual clinical relationship, what's doing best for the patient in front of you, is being sacrificed for the benefit of the research enterprise. Yeah. And that is very concerning to people. But just to know, just the hope and the aspiration and working towards helping everyone, I think is only a good thing. Yeah. If we don't sacrifice that individual relationship for it.
No, I agree with that.